What if I told you there's a secret to a happier, more meaningful life hidden in the heart of ancient Rome? What if the key to this secret lay not in the Colosseum's might or the Forum's grandeur, but in the lives of ordinary people like you and me? Today, we delve into the life of a woman whose story holds this very secret. Welcome to Philosophism, Truth for Everyday Life. Our story begins with Annia Cornificia Faustina Minor, a woman whose name echoes through the halls of Roman history, yet her face remains unknown, lost to the sands of time. She was the daughter of Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor of Rome, and Faustina the Younger. Born into the lap of luxury around the year 160 AD, she could have easily lived a life of indulgence, letting her status define her existence. But Cornificia's life was far from ordinary. She was, as the Romans would say, a natae philosophae, born of philosophy. You see, in the imperial household, philosophy wasn't confined to dusty scrolls or abstract theories. It was woven into the fabric of everyday life. Her father, Marcus Aurelius, didn't just rule an empire. He was a thinker, a man who pondered the nature of existence, death, and duty, immortalizing his thoughts in the now famous Meditations. For him, life wasn't just about power or prestige. It was about understanding the universe and one's place in it. And this understanding wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity. This is why he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." It wasn't just a quote for him. It was a way of life. And young Cornificia saw this firsthand. Now you might wonder, what does all this philosophy have to do with me? What lessons can we draw from the life of a Roman princess who lived nearly 2 millennia ago? The answer, my friends, lies in the word Stoic. No, not the modern-day Stoic who shies away from life, but the true Stoic, the one Marcus Aurelius espoused. A person who stands firm in the face of life's ups and downs, who finds strength in themselves rather than external circumstances. That's what Stoicism meant back then, and that's what it means today. Think about it. How often do we let our emotions get the better of us? How often do we feel overwhelmed by the chaos of modern life? In such times, Cornificia's story acts as a beacon, guiding us back to the principles that truly matter. You see, life isn't always easy. There are times when the burdens seem heavy, when the path ahead looks dark. But as Cornificia's life exemplified, it's in these moments that our inner strength shines through. Her life wasn't all about grand pronouncements or epic battles. It was about living well in the everyday, about finding wisdom in the mundane. And that's where her story intersects with ours. It doesn't matter if you're a student facing exams or a professional grappling with a new project. If you're navigating the twists and turns of relationships or simply trying to make sense of life as uncertainties, Cornificia's story reminds us that the answers we seek often lie within us, waiting to be discovered. But her journey wasn't a walk in the park. Life in ancient Rome was as tumultuous as any modern city. The politics were as ruthless as ever, and the shadows of power were filled with treachery. Even the mighty Marcus Aurelius wasn't immune to the machinations of those hungry for power. And when it came to those close to him, he was even more protective. You see, in those perilous times, every member of the imperial family was a potential target, a pawn in the relentless game of power. But amidst this chaos, Cornificia found solace in the teachings of Stoicism. She held fast to the principles of inner strength and self-control. It was her anchor in the storm, her compass in the darkness. Imagine, if you will, the year 212 AD. The Antonine Plague has ravaged the empire, leaving death and despair in its wake. Her father, the great Marcus Aurelius, is weary from years of war and pestilence. Even the once vibrant Rome seems to be losing its luster. Against this backdrop, young Cornificia faces a challenge that will test her resolve, the ultimate challenge, death. But here's the twist. This isn't the kind of death that comes unexpectedly. It's a death foretold, a death that stalks her family like a predator. It's a fate worse than death, a fate that strips away humanity, a fate that only a strong mind can withstand. Ordered by her uncle Caracalla to end her own life, Cornificia finds herself at a crossroads. On one hand, there's death, an unknown territory that lies beyond our understanding. On the other hand, there's the choice of how to meet this death, and that, as the Stoics believed, was in her hands. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on the gravity of her situation. A young woman about to face her mortality, not because of an accident or illness, but because of the cold orders of a merciless ruler. In such a moment, fear and despair could easily take hold. But Cornificia, grounded in the teachings of Stoicism, chose a different path. She chose courage. Now, I'm not suggesting that we should court danger or that we should become indifferent to the pain of others. What I'm advocating for is a certain level of emotional resilience, the ability to confront life's challenges head-on, no matter how daunting they may seem. Because as Cornificia showed us, it's not the absence of feeling, but the misuse of it that leads to our downfall. Her story isn't about suppressing our emotions, but about channeling them in a constructive manner. When faced with death, she didn't break down. She didn't beg for mercy. Instead, she stood firm. She stood firm not because she had no feelings, but because she understood that fear and grief, if not controlled, could consume her. She stood firm because she knew that true strength lay in accepting the inevitable. This brings us to another crucial aspect of Cornificia's life: her gender. You see, she wasn't just a woman living in ancient Rome. She was a woman living during a time when societal expectations were as rigid as the Colosseum's arches. For women, the roles were well defined. They were wives, mothers, daughters, but rarely philosophers, rulers, or even thinkers. Yet Cornificia didn't let these societal norms confine her. She wasn't just a pretty face or a trophy wife. She was a thinker, a student of philosophy, a practitioner of Stoicism. And that's what made her story so unique, so powerful. Think about it. If a woman in ancient Rome could defy societal expectations and embrace philosophy, how much change can she bring into my life? We often think of ancient Rome as a place of decadence, of gladiators and chariot races. But in reality, it was also a hotbed of intellectual activity. It was home to some of the greatest minds of the ancient world. And Cornificia was a part of this intellectual landscape. She wasn't just interested in the finer things in life. She wanted to understand life itself. And this desire for understanding, for wisdom, is something we can all relate to. It doesn't matter if we're men or women, young or old. The thirst for knowledge and self-improvement is a universal human experience. Yet despite being a woman of substance, Cornificia's life took a tragic turn. As the winds of fate shifted, Caracalla, her own cousin, ascended to the throne. And with his rise, the atmosphere in Rome changed. It went from bad to worse until it became unbearable. Imagine Rome not as a single city, but as a web of connections stretching across the Mediterranean. Trade routes, military outposts, and provinces, all linked together by a common identity: Roman. Well, Caracalla started unraveling this web. He withdrew troops from the frontiers, stopped paying back debts, and even raised taxes. It was as if the glue that held the empire together was being taken away piece by piece. And at the center of this upheaval sat Cornificia, caught in the maelstrom of her cousin's erratic rule. Then came the fateful blow, the order to take her own life. It wasn't just a command, it was a death sentence. But Cornificia didn't back down. She didn't let the turmoil of the empire extinguish the flame of Stoicism within her. She faced her fate head-on, not with fear, but with dignity. You see, it's easy to be stoic when times are good, when the sun is shining and the wine is flowing. But true stoicism is tested when the shadows fall and the winds turn cold. And Cornificia's last moments were a testament to this. Her life, though cut short, burned brightly, illuminating the path for those who came after. So the next time life throws you a curveball, the next time you face a decision that seems impossible, remember Cornificia. Remember the woman who chose courage over fear, who chose wisdom over ignorance, and who chose humanity over tyranny. Her story, though ancient, is as relevant today as it was then. It's a reminder that we all have the power to shape our lives, to find strength in ourselves, and to stand tall in the face of adversity. After all, as Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So let's make sure those thoughts are as resilient, as wise, and as compassionate as those of Annia Cornificia Faustina Minor, the woman whose life was a beacon of stoicism in the turbulent times of ancient Rome. And as we bring this episode to a close, I invite you to become a part of our growing community. If you resonated with this story, if you found inspiration in Cornificia's life, don't hesitate to show your support. Your engagement fuels our journey, allowing us to continue bringing these enlightening tales to life. Also, we would love to hear from you. What aspects of Cornificia's life story resonated with you the most? What lessons do you hope to carry forward in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your comments enrich the community and help others discover new perspectives. And finally, before we part ways, I want to leave you with another quote from Marcus Aurelius, the man who epitomized Stoicism, a man whose daughter walked this path with grace. "It's not that life is short, it's that we waste a lot of it," said Marcus Aurelius. Don't waste your life. Live it to the fullest, embracing the philosophy of Stoicism, the philosophy that guided Cornificia through her life's journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay resilient, and remember, the secret to a fulfilling life often lies in the stories of those who lived before us. Thank you for joining us today on Phil Gnosticism. Continue to learn and grow by exploring our other content, which shares timeless wisdom and practical advice for navigating life's complexities. Remember, stay connected and keep seeking wisdom.